Praise the Lord, everybody. I stopped by today to ask you if you're in a relationship with somebody or someone. Yes, a relationship. You know how, like, when you're in the doctor's office and they ask you if you are currently involved or if you're sexually active, or they ask you a whole bunch of questions pertaining to that type of topic and they want you to check the box. Well, I'm asking you, are you in a relationship with someone? And I ask you that because now I know before I go any further, some of you that's a little tricky. It's a little tricky because you want to say that you're not in a relationship, but you are in a relationship with somebody, but you just want to act like you're not. You're just deceiving yourself, actually. But the relationship I'm talking about is not like a boyfriend and girlfriend or a husband and wife. I'm talking about one with God. And I'm saying it to you, I'm asking you, because if you are not, then you need to consider entering into a relationship with God. Because I know that if you have no relationship with Him and you just believe that He exists, you are lacking in some area of your life. You're struggling in some area of your life. I know you are. Whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, in your career, in your family, your home life, your marriage, somewhere you have a struggle. It was done that way, it was created that way on purpose, by the way, so that you would seek God. God is in love with you and He wants a relationship more important. That relationship's going to be everything because whatever you need is going to be provided through that relationship. And here's another question I have for you. If you are one of those people that have a relationship and you don't tell nobody, why are you keeping it so secret, such a secret? Why it's so private? I heard people say, you know what? Your relationship with God is private. What you think about God is private. I'm not going to talk about that, or I don't think I. No, it's not supposed to be private. It's not. Who wouldn't want to talk about the world that we're looking at every day? We look at these beautiful, gorgeous trees. We celebrate the season changes. There's some of us, we talk about all of that. We talk about the colors of the sky, how they change at night. We talk about the oceans, the beaches. We talk about how beautiful people are, how beautiful. I'm a flower person. And I will talk to you about flowers, and how beautiful they are and the colors. And, we talk about everything that He created except for Him, the creator. I talk about God because He's talking about me. See, the more you let God in your life, the closer you come, the more you seek Him, the more He will come for you. He'll be right there. He wants somebody who wants to want Him. You should be having a kind of relationship with God that when you wake up, He's right there in your bed. You don't have to call Him on the phone. You don't have to say, God, could you come help me? Or God, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I need you. No, 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 no. He's there already. And all you got to do is think. If you get close enough with God, and if you decide, and the way to get close with God is through seeking Him, talking to Him, having these conversations, asking questions, and then sitting there waiting on the answers. Start to do what He's asking you to do in your word, in His word. Listen, serving God ain't hard. Now, the man-made formula of that you must be in church, or you not serving God, or you not gonna see God. That's not the truth. The truth of the matter is you are the church. You're the building that He wants to live in. The one that He created with His hands. Your mother and your daddy did not create you. Let me tell you, I got proof. If your mama had the ability to make your nose like hers, she would have. If your daddy had the ability to make you tall like him, he would have. But you aren't, are you? I'm using an analogy because they didn't create you. And because they didn't create you, they don't know the gifts inside of you. They don't know what you've been called to do 20 years from now. There's a lot of they don't knows because they are not. They're not your creator. Your mother was the one who carried you. God created your mother or your bio mom. He created the ovary in her, created your father, and the sperm that would fertilize the egg. He did all of that. Why are you not talking about him? You talk about everything else that you see that you think is beautiful and nice. You talk about the little beautiful baby, but you don't talk about the God who made the baby. Are you in this relationship that you should be in? Because and if you say you are, because you say I believe, that is not a relationship. I'm looking down at my floor right now. This wooden floor. I believe it's a wooden floor, but I didn't make this wooden floor, so I don't know how thick it is. There's a lot of things I don't know about it. I don't know how porous it is. I have 3 kids. I can't tell you where my son's going to be at 10 years from now. My oldest son. I can't. But I tell you what, I trust that he will be in the Lord at some point because God is not a man that he should lie. He's never lied to me. He's never failed me. If I sit here and tell you God failed me even once, I would be lying to you. And this is because I started a relationship. Listen, I was poor. I didn't want to be poor. I know God don't give you children for you to sit and live in a place that has roaches running around, drug dealers downstairs. No. And I lived in a really nice project in New York City. One right behind the Metropolitan Opera. For those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't want my children to be raised up there because they will become a product of their environment, and I didn't want that to happen. I said to God, I know you didn't give me these children for them to end up either my boys selling drugs or my daughter on drugs. No. And as a result, that never happened. Well, my youngest son, he stayed back. I had to leave him back for a minute. But he came quickly, and none of my children are on drugs. And thank God. We give God the glory for that. We're a believing family. It's more than just I believe. You need a relationship, a real one. One where you can wake up and know that he's going to be there and you don't have to worry. Even when you don't have everything you need, even when you don't have the rent money, you know that God's going to fix this situation for you somehow. If you need a job, I just told my youngest son, you need to start talking to God. That's the problem. He's trying to get your attention. You know, sometimes when you try everything you can to get something done and you can't, and you get frustrated and you get upset, it's because you are not going to God. He's not letting it happen so you can come to him. Because he wants a relationship and he deserves to have you. After all, he made you. He made you. I want to encourage you before I go any further with this topic. If you have not signed up for my newsletter, go to bydianavasquez.com. Down at the middle or the end of the page, you will see a box to subscribe to By Diana Vasquez, my newsletter. I'm in the process of finishing an article on sex and some of the things that happen as a result of having sex with people you should not be. The name of the article is called Sex is Not Free. I think it's a doozy. It's an eye-opening. I like to write things that I know people don't know for the most part. You got a lot of people out here that don't know that when they have sex with with a harlot, a prostitute, or somebody who's had a lot of partners, you don't know what you're getting into today. They don't know that when they leave, they're leaving with more than they went when they went to her, they went one way. When they end up leaving that person, woman or man, you're leaving with more than you came with. And that article is going to talk to you about it. The article's free. Sign up. Get your family, your friends to sign up, or share the articles when you get it. Okay? A relationship with God is important. We wouldn't be here telling you if we didn't have the proof that He was good. Let me tell you something. God gave me a house, a 10-room house. I told the story in one of my other videos. You need to go see it. It was fantastic. You know it's God, because I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. But then the second house that I got was same size, 3,000 square feet, right under it, 10 bedrooms. I mean, not 10 bedrooms, 10 rooms, few blocks away. And I was going to use this house to have a program called Women in Crisis. Um, and because they were prostitutes, not too far away, and I wanted to help them. And I got this house. Now the people, a friend of mine, his daughter and husband had lived briefly in the house about 6 to 8 months, but they got into it and divorced. Both of them just left the house, just abandoned it. So he asked me if I could buy the house, and he told me, just give me the difference. My son-in-law already paid $40,000. Just give me the difference. I said, no problem. I gave him cash money because God had given it to me, and told me prior to that I would own that house even before they moved in there. My friend got a revelation at some point and said, you was always supposed to have this house. That's what he told me. And he looked at me kind of, strange. Anyhow, I got the house, and shortly thereafter, there was a report made because the little boy that was living in the house, his daughter's son, had gotten lead poison. And the school, tested him, and soon he had lead poison, called the city inspector. City inspector come out and condemned the place because of the levels of lead. It was a Victorian house, an 18th century house. Corner lot, beautiful house. Well, the house is shut down. Now I'm going to God. What, you gave me this house, now what am I going to do? So I tried everything I could do and went to Home Depot, got my team to go in there, put on they allowed us to use those white hazmat, I think they said, uniform, to go in there and try to get this lead out. But you need a professional lead abatement for that. Because we tried 3 different times. I spent a lot of money. I had chemicals bought from a plant, a big warehouse in Jersey, big 5-gallon drums of it. It didn't budget. We tried 2 times, and the lead inspector both times it came out and said, I'm sorry, it's still a high level of lead. So I got frustrated. I called a friend of mine, a prophet. His name was Prophet Joseph Brown. He has now gone on to be with the Lord. But I said, Prophet Brown, God gave me this house, and they condemned it. We can't do nothing with it. It's a big yellow tape across it. He said, come get me. So I drove from Waterbury, Connecticut to Manhattan, picked him up, brought him back. He fixed my banister. It was a long, because it's a 2-story house. And then he said, we're going to pray. And when I finished praying, he stood looked at me. He's just me and him in the house. He said, when I finished praying, he said, I'm going to rebuke the spirit of lead, and there will be no more lead in this house. That's what he did. He prayed maybe 5 minutes. And then he said, call the lead inspector back. I called the lead inspector back. The lead inspector had just been there 3 days before that. He told me, it's impossible. You didn't get this house, this lead moved down. He said, I'm not going to come back out there. It's just going to be more the same thing. No, he didn't want to come. And I finally told him, sir, please, we had it done. I'm serious. Please come out and test it. So the Lord moved him to come back. He came, put his lead meters up against around the windows, different places, turned around and looked at me like and said, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He said, the lead is gone, completely gone. What did you do? I said, you're not going to believe me. And when I told him that it was the Lord who did it, and that the prophet rebuked the spirit of lead. Have you ever heard this before? The spirit of lead? No, probably haven't. But I'm telling you, it's real. And he allowed me, gave me the paperwork that the house was no longer condemned, that I could open it up and have a program or whatever I wanted to do there. This is because I have a relationship with God. So the next time I ask you if you have a relationship, I hope you say yeah. I hope you start talking to God about the things that really are important to you. You should talk about everything because he said cast his cares on him for he cares for you. Listen, God likes to be very personal with us, and he wants us to be the same with him. He wants us to ask him questions, that we don't have answers to. But you've got to be able to tell people that you have a relationship with God. Don't hide it. Don't do like people say in the world, well, there's two things you don't talk about in mixed company, politics and religion. Because both is going to start an argument. Neither shouldn't. Because my opinion or in politics is my opinion. We just talking. And when it comes to God, why can't I talk about the God that made the person that I'm talking to? Why can't I talk about the God that made that beautiful sky, the beautiful water? I live out right on the lake. Why can't I talk about that stuff? Why? Like I said, this is what we're supposed to do. Reason with people. When you have a conversation about God, people they always want to air their frustration. Yeah, well, they're frustrated. And most often they're frustrated with themselves because they are not where they should be. But God wants to help you get where you want to be and where you should be. And I'm going to guarantee you this: where you should be in life, I don't care how much you have accomplished. First of all, you didn't accomplish it on your own. The Lord was there helping you to make certain accomplishments. But for those things that you can't because you are weak in certain areas, God said his strength is made perfect in your weakness. In other words, it reveals that he's God. You want a God that you can rebuke the spirit of lead, and lead dissipates. If I tell you the things that God has done for me, that I prayed and they came, look, I'm going to just put it to you like this. They came alive. They came into the natural. They showed up. He's never let me down and he won't let you down. He won't. And it's all because of love. But the next time somebody asks you, are you in a relationship? You should be able to say, yes, I am. I'm in a relationship with God. No, I mean a relationship with a guy. I tell you what, if you get in a relationship with God, you will get the right guy. If you let God lead you to the man or bring the man to you, it's either way, one way or the other. Bring him to you or lead you to him. That's how I got my husband. That's how I got my house. That's how I got my cars. I've had 4 cars. None have been bought by a man. They all were bought by God. I've had two big 10-room houses, 3,000 square feet apiece. My name on the deed by God. Where I'm at now, on a house on the lake, a big 3,600 square foot house on the lake, by God. You have to understand, it's the Lord. And it's not about religion. I don't know nothing about religion. I don't even go to church every Sunday. I haven't been to church in a long time. But that's not part of my assignment. My assignment is different. It's not the assignments that you normally hear about. As a prophet, my assignment is very different. I run a school of the prophets. I don't go to the regular church that everybody's going to. I used to. Maybe in another season I will, but in this season I'm not. God bless you. Consider the relationship. It's important. I love you. Have a fabulous day. And go and sign up for that newsletter. The article comes out on Saturday or Sunday, one of them. Sex is not free. You need that. You need to read it. You need to give it to your kids. You need to give it to whomever you want to. Love you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.